Oh, this isn't good. The sand is so fresh. G'day everyone, Adam and Larissa here going Overland, and this week we want to talk to you guys about
our budget
on our lap around Australia. Talk about, you know, the fuel costs, food, where we save money,
camping costs,
yeah, where we
like
over budget or under budget, how much did we plan for, how we figured the budget out as well,
yeah,
because that's a big one, and yeah, and a big picture of the budget too, so not just, you know, one section of the trip, everything involved.
yeah, like 6 months not working, so we had to take that into account when we were doing the budget. 6 months of mortgage repayments because we weren't selling our house to do our lap. Like, we had to take all of these things into consideration.
So we got the whole figure for you guys. So a lot of these videos, people just show you, you know, a little bit of the budget, really,
which is still helpful.
Yeah,
but
we want to show you guys what it really cost us. All right, let's get into this week's video.
Okay.
What do you got, a coffee?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, cheers everyone. So look, we'll get into it. We don't want to muck about. Let's get this happening quick. So just before I forget, because I always film these videos, make sure you subscribe. There's some good content coming, some tips and things like that. Don't sit where the fire is. And make sure you give us a thumbs up on these videos. It just helps spread our channel around. That's all we're after. We're not after money or anything like that. But the more people that see it.
They didn't budget a fire extinguisher in without.
Okay, let's get into it. All right, so let's get into the figures of just the trip. Okay, so what we budgeted $29,500 for 6 months. All right.
Can we just back it up for a second? Like, a lot of people, you do not need to travel for a year.
Yeah.
Like, look, trust me, I would love to go for years and years, but the Australian weather, the Australian climate, and the different seasons and things going on in the different seasons makes it hard to travel for a full 12-month period.
Yeah, so we did 6 months. That's what the plan. We didn't want to camp during summertime, so it's just too hot. Oh, that's pretty smoky.
Yeah.
Should we move? You want to move? Or you want to move?
I think I know where it is.
We're going to move. Okay, take two. We're out of the smoke. Okay. All right, where do we begin? All right, so.
Okay, start from the top. You need a budget. You definitely need a budget so that you've got that peace of mind. That's the first thing.
Sorry about that sun now. All right. Now, when we were traveling though, we didn't count money. We didn't budget things while we were on the road. We didn't care what it cost. What it cost is what it was. We had extra money in the bank if we needed it.
Yeah,
and
I mean, you're money aware while you're traveling and when you're grocery shopping, so you weren't buying unnecessary things. You were trying to be money aware, but you didn't have that fear, I guess that pressure, because you'd already set aside that budget. Does it make sense? So,
yeah, and how we paid for our trip was we just worked our butts off for a couple of years, probably like 10 years, and we had money in the bank for a rainy day. That just never came. Even during the COVID crisis, we both had our jobs. Money kept coming in, so we were like, you know what? Let's do this. This is the year we wanted to do it. We're going to do it. All right. So our budget, we budgeted $29,500, and what I did was I worked out the average fuel consumption of the patrol. I worked on an average price for fuel. How much we spent on food at home every week. Worked that out for how many weeks we'd be on the road. Sort of guesstimated with caravan park costs and camping fees. Added money in for laundry. So I sort of sat down and worked it all out, and it kind of worked out very similar to the rule of $1 a kilometre, because we did 27,000 kilometres and our budget was 29,000, or $1,000 a week. So we did about 26 weeks on the road. So it was very similar to sort of that. Okay, so we budgeted $10,000 for fuel. Right,
yep.
We spent $7,202 on fuel.
Yeah,
now,
which is surprising.
Now, our figures, look, I've gone through all the bank statements and credit card bills, but our figures might be out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you go into the fuel stop and we buy some chips or something like that. So look, they might be out a slight bit, but at the same time, our total will be the same, because I could see that on our bank statement. So the total figure is correct. These numbers are very close to what they should be.
Yeah.
The second thing that we budgeted, food. With what I worked out at home, what we spent, we budgeted $6,000 for food, and that counts for like going out for dinner somewhere, like a quick takeaway lunch or something if we had to. Coffee, that all went into the food budget. Plus, like what you spend at Woolworths and the IGAs and the butch and all that. So we budgeted $6,000. We spent $6,327.
Yeah.
So we're pretty bang on there.
Yeah.
The next thing was camping fees. I guesstimated $6,000. We spent $3,804. Why it's so much lower? We did 6 holiday parks or caravan parks in total.
Yeah, for the whole time.
6 months.
And I mean, like some of them in the areas that you were staying, you kind of really had to. So Cooper Pedy, Uluru, you definitely had to stay there, because unless you were hiking in and spending more fuel to go from Curtin Springs or something like that, you really needed to be there, and it's easier being there.
Then there was
Cooper Pedy, definitely.
Mary River, where we stayed. We got the golf buggy.
Oh, and Hyden. You had to, at Hyden.
Yeah, that was one night.
For Wave Rock. It was only one night. It was only 40 or 50 bucks or something. But, you know, you wanted to be there and you could just walk over and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But,
and then there was also Kununurra and Catherine.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if I counted Wave Rock when I did the 6.
Oh, it's only 50
Yeah.
bucks. But so, most of the other places were, we tried to free camp as much as we could. That was the ultimate goal, was to free camp as much as we could. And then the national parks to make it convenient.
And well, it wasn't really a goal to free camp, but a lot of the really nice camps are free camps. Like you think of where we stayed north of Broome, that was beautiful and that was free.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Outside of Karajini, that was beautiful. There was no one else around, so it just worked out that way. All right, what was next? Extras. So this is extra fun stuff. The helicopter flight.
The buggy.
Jumping croc tours.
Yeah. And we didn't do all the things. Like, there's a lot of cool touristy stuff that you can do. And, like, just, you know, with COVID, we really were trying to, overly avoid people. And that sounds really harsh, but we didn't want to be in a case where we were putting ourselves at risk of having to lock down in our little tiny camper trailer home. So yeah, we didn't do everything. We didn't do the swimming with whale sharks or all the...
Lake Argyle, we did a
Lake
boat
Argyle,
cruise.
but we did enough. We did things that we wanted to do. And what was our budget
so
for that?
we allowed about $3,000 for that. Okay, we spent $3,156. And it's, like I said before, we weren't counting money. So we didn't get to $3,000 and said, you know, whoa, let's stop buying fun stuff.
Yeah.
If anything, towards the end of the trip, we started doing more and more of those things.
Yeah.
Next up, the repairs. Repair costs for our car, the trailer, our camping gear, servicing parts, all that. Okay, we allowed $4,000. we spent $2,447.
And that probably comes into Adam doing like a lot of the stuff himself.
Yeah,
like
so
all of it actually.
we
Like,
did. I think we did 5 or 6 car services, like oil changes.
Yeah. Okay.
We also did the trailer brakes on one side. We had repair work on the fuel tank.
Yeah.
We had, what
The
else?
shocky springs. But
So we
I
were
think
also
that's
buying
most of
grease, degreaser, rags,
Gloves.
buckets, gloves, all that sort of stuff goes into it. Spare tyre blue on the trailer.
Yep.
That all goes into that budget. So
Yeah. How much was that one?
we only spent $2,447
Yeah.
for 6 months. It's pretty good.
I mean, I
good.
guess if you were to add the amount of time Adam had to put into it, and he sent me an invoice, for example, I'd be...
Yeah, if you had to pay labour, it'd be a lot more. And also, the thing was that I didn't want to have to deal with is the downtime. Our trip was so jam-packed, and it was go, which we chose to do that.
Yeah, we chose to do that, and you don't have to actually.
But we
do it
didn't
that
have
way,
any
but we loved
days. We had no days where we had to sit and wait for a car to be repaired or the trailer.
Yeah.
Every day we were doing something. The bits and pieces. So just the things that sort of didn't fit into those other categories. It might be the dentist. Larissa went to the dentist.
Yeah, that was a shocker.
Yeah, wetsuits, toys for the kids, washing.
Souvenirs, yeah.
We did washing, like car washing, and then even laundry. That sort of went into this budget. I only laid like $500, so I didn't really think about it too much.
Yeah.
We spent $2,321
On extras.
extra things in. Yeah.
Mind you, you don't know what souvenirs that you're going to like at different places as well. So that one, maybe next time we'd probably put a little bit extra in that kitty.
Yeah, just something we
the
didn't give a
kids-
think about. So.
Yeah, the kids have different things that they particularly select to help them remember things. So, for example, we got them a croc tooth and a little freshie.
Souvenirs as well. Yeah, that's real.
Cooper.
That's the dog. That's Cooper. If you guys haven't met our dog, our Kelpie, that's Cooper.
They might have seen one of our previous videos with Kate York or something.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, one thing we didn't give any thought to was beer and alcohol.
But I mean, we're not big drinkers. I mean, like we'd
have 1 or 2 a day, and sometimes nothing at all.
And I guess that's probably, you know, our saving grace in certain areas, when especially certain areas in Australia will actually close the bottle-o or you know, certain.
So our budget for alcohol was 0 because I didn't.
Yeah.
We spent $917 on alcohol.
Over 6 months.
Over 6 months for 2 of us.
Gosh, wow.
Because your average carton of beer is a bit more dear when you're out remote. I can't remember off the top of my head, but if you're paying $60 for a carton of beer in Brisbane,
it's about $88 somewhere in the Northern Territory when
you're paying about $80-90 for a carton of beer.
Yeah.
What we budgeted, $29,500. What we spent in total with those figures, we spent $26,184. So $26,000.
Oh my gosh! I wonder if someone's been adding this up.
I've done it all with the calculator. Don't worry, guys. Trust me. So we're a couple of grand under budget, which is great because, like I said, we didn't count money on the trip. Yeah, really happy with that.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing of the budget in our video that we're going to share with you guys is the before and after the trip, what we spent. Okay, so what we bought before the trip, especially for the trip, we bought all new chairs, new table, fishing gear. We bought a whole heap of new stuff like that.
But we didn't buy it all in one go. This is probably the thing where it's hard to actually work out the total cost that we spent, because it was a gradual thing. Like, we had a list of things that we probably needed to upgrade before we went away.
Yeah.
And then we slowly, when we saw them go on sale, you know, get it, try it out. And
like our chairs, what we bought, because our original camp chairs were quite old, and I didn't want a chair to fall apart in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, to the point where we had bolts holding some of them together because we just...
So we waited to Anaconda had a sale. We bought these chairs half price. They were $100 each regularly, and we got them for $50 each, so it's a huge saving.
Yeah.
Another big ticket expense though was the camper trailer.
Yeah.
So we had a soft wall camper, and there was no way I wanted to do a lap of Australia in the big. Had a huge tent on it.
It was good. It was good while the kids were young because we could fit a porta cot and heaps of stuff in there.
Great camping trailer. It went through the Simpson Desert, Cape York. It was a great four-wheel drive trailer and camping trailer, but it was no good for a lap of Australia, where we could be camping on bitumen one night, in a rocky creek bed the next night.
Yeah, and the setup of that, the time it would have taken, and the stress that it, like the lifting it for
Heavy.
Adam's back and stuff.
Heavy.
We needed a setup that, if anything happened, we could both.
We had to change
manage.
that. So our trailer cost $25,000.
Second hand.
It's 3 years old. It was like brand new almost.
Yeah.
So really happy with that. New chairs, couple new awnings. So what did we spend before we left home? Pre-trip, we spent $29,000. So there's some things that aren't in there. Our camera gear's not in there because that sort of gets taken out with the YouTube income.
Yeah.
Which isn't much. We already had the camera. Actually, the only thing new we bought was the GoPro.
GoPro 9, which was...
Everything we already had.
Yeah, which was a...
Yeah.
GoPro's pretty good.
So we didn't spend that much before the trip. Patrol we already had. We bought that 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
2011.
Something like that. So, but we did buy new tyres for that. The other tyres were worn out anyway. So whether you throw that on your budget list, I don't know. So yeah, we spent $29,000 before we left. One other thing, after the trip, there was some repairs to do. So we had to do all the front wheel bearing seals, new trailer tyres, and we got new rims as well. We got them to match the Patrol now. There's some paint we repainted underneath the Patrol and trailer. What else was there? Solar panels, we smashed one solar panel. The other one was warped and distorted, and
so
it was sort of a bit iffy towards the end. So post-trip on repairs, we spent $3,140. So when you do a big lap of Australia, just be aware when you get home there will be some expenses, some repair costs.
And you want to do that when you get home. You want to get it thoroughly checked out when you get home so that it's going to see you through your future trips. So Adam was very conscious when we got home to fix it and make sure it was back up to his high standard.
Yeah, we got the Patrol, the second fuel tank ripped out of the Patrol. We got that welded up. I welded up the exhaust myself. Did a major service. So yeah, all that sort of done.
Seals.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing, the front end, all the seals and stuff. That was 2 days work.
Yeah.
It was only $350 worth of seals, but it was a big job. So another thing we got to talk about is our house. So some people we met, they rent their house out. Some people sell it if they're doing a 12-month trip or more. Some people use that money to actually finance their trip. We didn't want to do that. We loved our house. We didn't want the extra time to move everything out and get it ready for renters.
And 2 years before we were planning to go, we had a very different plan in place where someone in a family was going to rent it out, but then their situation changed, so our situation then had to change as well. So versatility, or go with it, I guess you could say, but in the end we were very lucky enough to have my mum actually stay and take care of the house and everything on behalf of us.
So basically we had a house sitter.
We had a house sitter,
stayed with Cooper. So we didn't earn an income from the house, so we still had to pay our mortgage, which we dropped to the minimum. We still had to pay rates and a few bills like that. So we spent about $12,000 on the mortgage and all that stuff while we were away for those 6 months. The other thing that you got to consider as well is your lack of income or loss of income. So we didn't work on the road, we didn't want that time delay, and we didn't have long service leave or anything like that.
No, it was unpaid leave. So Adam had to resign from his job with no benefits at that stage with resigning, and I actually
1 week holiday pay, I think.
Yeah, and 2 years before our planned trip, or 18 months before, I took off 2 terms unpaid leave. So that puts me at risk because then I don't get holiday pay and all this other stuff as well. But it was like literally 6 months unpaid, and that is very stressful when you know when you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's 6 months with no money coming in. But that's why we had to be foreseeing how much we might possibly need to support our house, but also to get us
yeah, we certainly didn't want to be running out of money on the trip and have to get a loan out or anything like that. So look, it's a bit under $60,000 for without tax, so taking the tax out of it, for both our incomes that we didn't earn, which you got to consider as well. So that's how we got our total of, for the 6 months on a budget trip around Australia, $126,253.
Yeah.
For 6 months. So $126,000 is what it cost us to do a lap of around Australia.
Yeah.
And I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Oh, totally. Like if I could easily get another 6 months off, I would be going next year again.
Our thinking was we could always work an extra year before retirement if we had to. Getting back now, it doesn't feel like we've lost any money.
No.
I don't sit there looking at the bills and going, oh my gosh, we're so far in the red.
No. But it's interesting when you come back and you haven't been to the doctors and you haven't been to the dentist and you haven't been to the hairdresser and you haven't been to all these things that you normally have those regular appointments for or something. Like initially, and this is probably what I wasn't expecting, there were a couple of bills initially when we returned back for dentist work and
yeah, but that's just life. That's
it is just life. But I guess when you haven't worked for 6 months and you first come back, there's that little bit on your shoulders going, okay, we've got to now rethink how we're going to work this.
All right, guys, thanks for watching this week's video. Hope you got some tips out of it.
Yeah.
And a bit of an insight of what it really costs.
I'm sure they've got an app for all this budgeting stuff, but you know, we like seeing it all laid out on the table in front of us.
And look, I wanted to give you guys the full picture, because a lot of these times, look, camping, and look, $26,000 for 6 months is pretty cheap, but you've got to think about the big picture of it, what it really costs. All right, you got to think about loss of income, repair costs afterwards, building up to it before you leave. You know, it all's got to come out of your budget. Yeah. So I hope you got some tips out of it, some insight. Hope you give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, and I hope that this inspires you to know that there is options for travelling cheaply over 6 months to see the incredible places in Australia. Don't put it off. Don't put it off until you have that $80,000 caravan and $200,000 car or whatever, because there's some really cool stuff out there that you can get just what you need, and just get out there because it's so beautiful, and don't miss out. Don't be waiting
so we spent less on our whole trip and everything than some people spent on just their car, just a brand new Land Cruiser with a few accessories on it, or a caravan. So look, you can do it on a budget.
You can.
Yeah.
I would do it again in the patrol too. It was so reliable. Like, even though we had a few issues, knowing that Adam knew the car so well was peace of mind for me, and that you can just turn it over, and the older engines are a little bit more without the computers. I don't know.
But look, most of the time you do the trip in the car that you've got. So but if you're happy with your car and it's reliable, hey, go for it. There was nothing extreme on the trip really, for driving wise, or you could avoid those areas. There was nothing where you needed a big patrol with air lockers and sway bar disconnects. Look,
probably the only thing was Honolulu National Park. There's a couple of the creeks that you went through there on that.
But if we had a dual cab Hilux, we would have done the lap in the dual cab Hilux, and it would have been fine. Yeah. So look, everyone's lap's different. Everyone will have a different budget and a different setup. We just wanted to show you what ours was. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.